The pick is in.
With the 31st pick, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jihaad Campbell, linebacker out of Alabama. Let's bring in Locked On Eagles host Louis DiBiase to give a little conversation and a little breakdown on why the Eagles did a little switcheroo at the end of the first round, moving from the 32nd pick to the 31st pick. What do you think about that move, Louis?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think the Eagles are working the phones, trying to get up into the 20s for a pass rusher. I think they were trying to hold off other teams from moving up to 31 to get Jihaad Campbell. This is a versatile piece that can play inside linebacker, can play on the edge. I think he can fill multiple needs for the Eagles, both short-term and long-term. And I think Howie Roseman just can't help himself. He always likes to make trades, and he traded up just one spot, maybe even just for the sake of doing it so he can keep the reputation. But overall, I think it was a great move for a stacked roster to add a versatile piece.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too, Louis. Like, the Philadelphia Eagles are the kind of front office, where, hey, if you just decide for kicks and giggles that you want to make a move just to kind of keep the rest of the league on its toes, you can certainly understand it. But you said it. I mean, just an embarrassment of riches, really, at just about every position on the defensive side of the ball, but particularly when you look at that linebacker core, you look at a Zach Bond, a Jeremiah Trotter Jr., and the Kobe Dean, and I could just go on and on. But when you look at that group, how do you feel Jihaad Campbell's skill set can complement those players?
I think he fits in because he can do a little bit of everything. He was actually recruited to Alabama as an edge rusher, but because of depth, he moved inside. So I think they can use him as this almost like a mismatch, like Swiss Army knife of peace. Based on the team you play, you can use him on the edge more as a blitzer through the A gap, through the B gap. Also, Nakobe Dean's probably going to miss some time in the regular season after dealing with a season-ending injury that he suffered in the first round of the playoffs. He's in a contract year as well. Is Howie Roseman really going to pay two linebackers top 5, top 10 money as they extended Zach Bond? Probably not. So I do think it actually makes sense long-term as well for the inside linebacker spot. But for Campbell right now, you use him as a mismatch, and then I think you figure out what he does best, and that's what Vic Fangio's really good at, is developing young talent and finding their strengths.
Yeah, I got to give you so much credit. Just bringing up Zach Bond, just knowing what I saw in him, being from New Orleans, and just seeing what he didn't do with the Saints, but not of his own doing. And to see what Vic Fangio was able to do with him, you got to be absolutely positive and encouraged as an Eagles fan that he could potentially do the same with Campbell. Now, what I was mentioning earlier was that embarrassment of riches at linebacker for Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator for the Eagles. So what does he need to do to get Campbell ready for day one? And obviously not going to necessarily be a starter, Lou, but just maybe getting him day one for whatever position they put him in for this Eagles team.
I think that's really it. Is last year they found Zach Bond's niche, and it was inside linebacker. Cooper DeJean they drafted to be, he was an outside corner at Iowa. They found out that he was more of a nickel corner. I think Fangio really needs to figure out, and I'm sure they've already been a step ahead in this process. They got to be comfortable with that part of it before drafting him and trading up for him. But figure out what he does best and really have him focus on one spot initially. Don't overload his plate. And then eventually, the better he gets, the more seasoning he gets, then you can start to move him around the formation. So I think that's the start, is focus on one position and then use him as a versatile piece. So I think that's the big job for Fangio.
And I think, too, having those guys out there, and like you said, even when you are looking at guys like Nakobe Dean or like a Nolan Smith dealing with injury, you know you have another piece kind of another in the holster to be able to just kind of pull out as they do and just be so versatile as we've seen this defense of this Philadelphia Eagles team be. Appreciate the time, Louis. And for continuing coverage of the Eagles, subscribe to Locked On Eagles wherever you get your podcasts. For continuing coverage of the Eagles, subscribe to Locked On Eagles wherever you get your podcasts. And for more on Jihaad Campbell, let's hear from Locked On Bama host Luke Robinson, who spent a lot of time covering Jihaad up close.
Jihaad Campbell is going to surprise a lot of NFL players and teams with his versatility. I'm Luke Robinson with Locked On Bama, and Jihaad Campbell has been one of the best players on Alabama's team these last two seasons. He's been incredibly versatile. He was recruited to Alabama as an edge, but of course you get to Alabama at that time when Nick Saban was still the coach. You got Will Anderson in front of you. You got Dallas Turner in front of you. And Jihaad Campbell adapted. He became an off-ball linebacker, and he became a really, really good off-ball linebacker too. Very good in space. His coverage has certainly improved. He's got a propensity for some big plays. He made a huge one against Tennessee in Tuscaloosa, returning a fumble for a touchdown late in that contest. Jihaad Campbell is going to be a very, very good pro. Again, check out Locked On Bama for more on anything relating to the Alabama Crimson Tide.